Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive. Today we're tackling the future of space travel.
Yeah, it should be fun.
We've got a ton of fascinating sources, from moon bases all the way to colonizing Mars, and even further out there.
Lot to unpack.
We'll jump right in. Did you know we might actually be able to fuel our spacecraft using ice from the moon?
Oh, yeah, that's a game changer.
So let's start with the moon, our first stop. It's not just something pretty to look at in the sky anymore.
Right. Becoming more like humanity's first outpost, I'd say.
Totally.
The moon's not just the end goal in itself, it's like a stepping stone. Imagine a base on the moon, kind of like a practice Mars colony. We can test all the tech, get used to similar problems.
Like a test run?
Exactly, but we're only 3 days from Earth if anything goes wrong.
Good point. But I gotta admit, when I think moon, the word resources doesn't exactly pop into my head. What kind of resources are we talking about?
Okay, so first up, water ice.
Water ice.
Yeah, hidden away in those craters near the poles, the ones that are always in shadow. And this ice, well, it completely changes the game. We could get drinking water from it, obviously, breathing oxygen too.
Makes sense.
But get this, we can break it down and make rocket fuel.
Wait, hold on. Fuel from ice. How does that even work?
It's called electrolysis, basically, using electricity to split the water into hydrogen and oxygen. Both can be used for rocket fuel.
So the moon's like a giant space gas station.
Exactly. It totally changes how we think about traveling out there. And that's not even all. You've got lunar regolith. That's the stuff on the surface. We can use that for building habitats, and it's great for shielding against radiation.
Wow, so the moon's got everything we need for a base.
Pretty much. Provides us with all the basic building blocks.
So we got our lunar base. We're filling up our spaceships with moon ice.
Yeah.
Where to next? Mars, right?
You got it, Mars. It's the next big leap.
It's always captured our imaginations.
It has, hasn't it? Those landscapes, the possibility of finding life, past or present, even just the challenge of it all, it's pretty alluring.
Yeah, but looking at our sources, they don't exactly make it sound easy. Sounds like actually living on Mars would be brutal.
It's rough out there, no question. Thin atmosphere, mostly carbon dioxide, so not much protection from radiation. Average temperature is minus 80 degrees, can you imagine? And on top of all that, massive dust storms, they can cover the entire planet for months.
Yikes. Okay, well, our sources also mention SpaceX and their goal of building a self-sustaining city on Mars with, get this, 1 million people.
Ambitious, right?
1 million people on Mars. That sounds incredibly ambitious given those challenges. SpaceX must have some seriously innovative solutions in mind to tackle those harsh conditions we just talked about, right?
They do. They're banking on their Starship. It's designed to carry loads of people and cargo to Mars. If it works, that could pave the way for a real permanent human settlement.
That's a huge undertaking. What about other space agencies? Are they on board with this whole, rapid colonization idea?
Well, NASA and the ESA, they're taking a bit of a different approach.
Yeah.
They're really focused on tech for long-term survival on Mars, stuff like life support systems that recycle everything, better radiation shielding, ways to efficiently produce food and water.
Like self-sufficient habitats?
Exactly. Airtight, recycling air and water, maybe even growing crops using hydroponics.
Cool. So we've got two different strategies for Mars. SpaceX with the big city, and NASA and ESA more focused on just surviving.
Yeah, be interesting to see how they both develop.
It will. Both are definitely pushing the limits of what we can do, though.
Absolutely. All that new tech will benefit us no matter where we go in space.
Speaking of where we go, Mars isn't the final stop, is it? I mean, our sources talk about asteroid mining and exploring some of the coolest moons out there.
For sure. Think Mars is full of resources. Asteroids are packed with valuable stuff, things like platinum, gold, all the rare elements that are vital for tech here on Earth.
I get the resource angle, but isn't space mining, ethically tricky? Who even owns all that stuff?
That's a whole other discussion.
Good point.
Let's talk moons for now. You've got Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, with an entire ocean hidden under the ice.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Scientists think it could be one of the best places in the solar system to find alien life.
That's amazing.
And then there's Titan, Saturn's largest moon. It's the only moon with a thick atmosphere. It even has lakes and rivers, except they're full of methane.
Wow. So what do we hope to learn from these moons? Why go there?
Titan's like a time capsule. It can show us what early Earth might have been like.
Makes sense.
By studying these moons, we can learn so much about how planets form, how solar systems evolve, maybe even about the origins of life itself.
Pretty incredible. But one thing I'm wondering, how do we actually get to these places?
Yeah.
I mean, our rockets now, they're cool and all, but they're slow for these vast distances.
You're not wrong. A trip to Mars takes months.
Exactly.
That's why we need new ways to travel, advanced propulsion systems.
Okay, so let's talk about those. What's on the horizon? What kind of tech will get us out there faster?
Wow. It's like our current rockets, they're kind of like trusty horses and buggies.
Okay.
Good for short trips, sure, but not exactly ideal for crossing, huge cosmic distances.
Right, right.
If we want to really explore the solar system, we need something more like a supersonic jet.
So what are we talking about? What kind of supersonic jet will get us out there faster?
One of the most exciting ideas is nuclear fusion propulsion. These engines, they'd harness the power of fusion, the same thing that powers the sun.
Wow.
That would give us crazy amounts of thrust.
Okay, nuclear fusion, that sounds super powerful. But how would that actually, cut down travel times?
Well, with what we have now, it takes about 7 months to reach Mars. With a fusion engine, we could do it in a few weeks, maybe even faster.
Wow, weeks instead of months.
Yeah.
That changes everything. We're not just popping over to Mars for a visit. We could actually, stay there, build things.
Yeah, totally opens up possibilities.
So fusion engines, anything else on the horizon that could change the game?
Another promising tech is ion propulsion.
Ion propulsion.
Yeah, some satellites already use it, but if we scale it up, it could make those longer missions, the ones to the outer planets, a lot more realistic.
Okay, so tell me more about ion drives.
They're super efficient. They use electricity to speed up ions, which creates thrust.
So they're not about raw power like the fusion engines, but more about efficiency over time.
Exactly. Think of them as marathon runners, not sprinters.
Interesting.
Might start slow, but over those long distances, their efficiency really pays off. And then there's an idea that's almost, I don't know, it sounds like sci-fi.
With that?
Solar sails.
Solar sails. Okay, now that does sound pretty futuristic. How do those even work?
Basically, it's this huge reflective sail, and it captures the momentum of sunlight. So it's propelled by the sun, kind of like sailing on cosmic winds, I guess.
Wow. Harnessing the sun's power for interstellar travel. That's incredible.
It sounds almost poetic, using nature to explore the cosmos. Okay, so we've got all this talk about revolutionary tech. Does that mean, are we in a new space race? Are we going back to the Cold War days of, competition and rivalry?
Actually, it's kind of the opposite of that.
Really?
We're seeing more international collaboration than ever before.
That's great.
Instead of competing, countries are working together, sharing resources, knowledge, all working towards the same goals.
So it's less about national pride and more about humanity, working together as a team to explore space.
Exactly. Agencies like NASA, ESO, Roscosmos, they're all partnering up, sharing their expertise, planning missions together.
I like that.
And don't forget about those private companies, SpaceX, Blue Origin. They're shaking things up too. They're bringing new ideas, moving fast, and have a fresh perspective. Yeah, it is inspiring to see everyone coming together like that for a common purpose. But let's be real, space exploration is expensive, and it's risky. Some people would say we've got bigger problems here on Earth that need our attention, so why are we investing so much in going beyond our planet? What's the point?
I get it. That's a valid question.
Mm-hmm.
But space exploration, it's not just about curiosity or even those big technological achievements. It's about making sure we have a future.
Okay, I'm listening.
Think about it. Earth is facing some serious problems.
Yeah, climate change.
Exactly. And resource depletion, even the possibility of asteroid impacts. Space exploration might just give us the answers.
So exploring space is like an investment in our survival in the long run.
Think of it as an insurance policy for humanity.
I like that.
By going out there, we could find new resources, develop tech to fight climate change, even figure out backup plans in case things go really bad here.
So it's not just about the romance of the unknown, it's about being practical too.
Right, we're not just adventurers, we're pioneers trying to shape humanity's future.
True. But what about, the impact on our understanding of the universe, of our place in it all?
Well, at its core, space exploration is all about seeking knowledge. Every mission, every observation, every experiment helps us understand the cosmos a little bit better.
Right.
We're learning about the history of the universe, how stars and planets form, what conditions are needed for life to exist.
So it's like we're constantly expanding our horizons, trying to wrap our minds around how vast and complex the universe is.
Exactly, and as we delve deeper into these mysteries, we can't help but ask some big questions.
Like what?
Where did we come from? What's our place in this universe? What does it even mean to be human, when we look at the vastness of space?
Those are big questions.
They are. They're the kind of questions that make space exploration so much more than just science. It's about self-discovery, too, about finding meaning in the universe.
I like that. So beyond those big questions, what about some real-world examples? Like, how has space exploration actually led to things that benefit us here on Earth?
Oh, tons of examples.
Okay, like what?
Well, take telemedicine, for instance.
Telemedicine.
Yeah, doctors consulting with patients remotely, even doing surgery from far away. That was partly driven by the need to monitor astronauts' health in space.
So the fact that a specialist in, I don't know, New York can help with a surgery in rural India, that's because of space exploration.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's just one thing. Lightweight medical scanners, water purification tech, materials for prosthetics, all those have roots in space research.
Wow, it's amazing how things designed for space travel end up improving our lives here on Earth,
Yeah.
in healthcare, communication, all sorts of fields.
It just shows you how creative and resourceful those scientists and engineers are.
Yeah, when they're faced with the challenges of space, they come up with some pretty amazing solutions, solutions that end up having a ripple effect back here on Earth. Okay, we've covered a lot today. The moon, Mars, asteroids, those incredible moons, new ways to travel through space, the importance of working together, and why exploring space matters, both for now and the future.
Yeah, we've been all over the solar system.
Before we wrap up, though, one final question I have to ask.
Yeah.
Given all the challenges, the resources we need, the risks involved, what's the biggest thing that drives us to go beyond our planet? What's the core motivation?
That's a great question, makes you think. For me, I'd say it's the spirit of exploration itself. That curiosity we have, that desire to know what's out there, that drive to push the limits of what's possible, that's what keeps us moving forward.
That makes sense.
It's what led our ancestors to cross oceans and continents, and it's the same thing that makes us want to explore the cosmos. It's a journey that never really ends.
It's that thirst for knowledge, for understanding, for knowing our place in it all. That's what makes us human, I think.
Absolutely, and then it's what pushes us to go beyond what we know, to embrace the unknown.
I love that. It's a journey that keeps going as long as humans dream and have stars to guide them. So we've covered a ton in this deep dive. The moon is our starting point, the challenges and excitement of settling on Mars, the potential of asteroid mining and exploring those incredible moons.
So much to talk about.
We dove into the amazing tech that's going to make these trips possible and how space exploration is changing our lives right here on Earth.
Yeah, not just out there, but here too.
We talked about how countries are teaming up, not competing, in space.
Working together is key.
And we touched on those big philosophical questions. Why explore it all? What's our place in this giant universe? What does it even mean to be human when we look at the immensity of space?
Those are the questions that really stick with you.
They do. No easy answers, but they're worth thinking about as we head further out into the cosmos. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the future of space travel, one last thought for you all to consider.
Okay, I like this.
Given the huge challenges, the incredible resources we need, and the risks involved, what role should humanity play in shaping the future of space exploration?
Big question.
Should we focus on building permanent homes on other planets, or prioritize finding alien life and scientific discoveries?
Both sound pretty good.
Should we use the resources of space to benefit everyone here on Earth, or should we be careful thinking about the risks and the ethical side of what we're doing?
Lots to consider.
The choices we make now will decide how our journey among the stars unfolds. It's a future we're building together. So keep exploring, keep asking those big questions, dream big, and never lose that sense of wonder that makes us want to reach for the stars.
Well said. Keep looking up, everyone, and may your journey be filled with amazing discoveries.
And remember, the universe is vast, but our capacity for exploration is even bigger.